Oh, we are about 12 days out from launch, and you only get one chance to get this part right. And it's 6 a.m. and I'm here bashing away a little bit here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Oh, I don't know. But the bottom paint. To get a good bottom paint on, you've got to prepare your surface right. So the entire hull has to be keyed below this arbitrary line. I guess I'm going to call it my anti-foul line. I'm hoping the water line's down here, but we just don't ever know. It could be up here, it could be like that. You're just not sure where it's going to be. But the key is good preparation. So I've started to key the gel coat. This process is quite considerable. You have to basically sand the entire hull down, and that doesn't mean get the gel coat off, but you need to key that gel coat, take all of the wax and the shininess out of it and any dirt and grime that's been on it, and then there'll be 2 coats of barrier coat, epoxy barrier coat, and I'm using Alltex number 5 anti-foul. I've actually got 2 colours. I've got blue and black, and the blue goes on first, and then I'm going to put the black on so that when I wear through the black I'll know that I'm ready for new anti-foul and I can see the blue coming through. But before that happens, I need to sand the entire hull. So as you can see here, we've got basically, I've done down, and this is 2 hours work, I've pretty much done from there to down here. You can see where it's sort of dull, but even then when it's dull, if you run your hand over it, you know, we've still got to key this surface. I reckon I'll give it another quick run over as soon as I've got it all sanded. I'll give it another quick run over with the orbital, with the DA sander, and basically it's 80 grit, so I'm hammering the hell out of it. Now those 2 epoxy barrier coats have got to go in within 24 hours of each other, and then you need to put the first anti-foul on within 24 hours of finishing that as well. So you're working with the chemistry the whole way along, and by doing that you're actually making sure that you get a good bond. So that preparation is epic. You look at this, it's essentially 2 42-foot yachts I have to hand sand down with the DA sander, and then we've got to basically get into the anti-foul. And there's other problems I have as well. Those problems can but also include all the crap underneath it. So I've got to get rid of all of this, and I also have to lift it. So I'm going to be lifting the whole boat up and hanging it here while I get in and sand underneath where these obstacles are. I'm going to move all this crap out anyway. And same thing on the other side. So before I can actually move forward, I need to get the majority of it sanded, and then I can lift it a bit, get sanding underneath. I need the ability to be able to lift up and down so that I can get underneath it and get all the barrier coat on every surface under here, because I don't want any chance of any osmosis. Now when I laid the hull, it was all in vinyl ester, so the beautiful thing about that is it's not quite like polyester. It's not susceptible to osmosis. Doesn't mean it won't happen, because this gel coat can absorb moisture, and by doing the epoxy barrier coat, you're basically waterproofing the hull yet again. So not only does the gel coat give it a waterproofing feature, the epoxy barrier coat's going to do the same thing as well, and hopefully, you know, prohibit any chance of osmosis as we go in the water and spend a long time sitting in the water, I hope. So sanding, I'm covered in crap. I'm putting it all in at the moment. Went home at about 11 last night. I'm here at 5 again this morning. The last 2 weeks has been, yeah, I have to say it's been pretty intense, and I'm physically knackered, but you know, I'm up for it, and I'll just keep going until it's done. Oh, it was like putting in a big effort. 6 hours in, and the compressor can't even cope with it. I mean, it's a shocker. It has worked for 7 years solid without a break. It's been relentless, this thing. I just set fire to this. In here is the switch, and obviously there's some dodgy wires in there now because they're burnt, and I did actually rewire it a couple of weeks ago, and I think I'm at the end of the rewiring now. I think we'll just buy a whole new head. I'll keep the gauges, and it has got a bit of an issue with the water catch here, but anyway, we're going to try and get it apart. Not even sure how it comes apart, to be honest.
It's nearly 6 o'clock at night. Ross started at 6, and the poor bugger is still sanding. Poor thing. I feel so sorry for him, and I know the people have done it, but
Right, so I've been going, I started on that hole yesterday morning at 5 a.m. Did half of that hole. This morning I got here at 6:30 and I've done that entire hole. So that whole hole's ready now for epoxy barrier coat. And we're going to put 2 coats of Ultex number 5, I guess it's number 5, epoxy barrier coat on each hole. And that'll happen on Monday. It's Saturday night now. Tomorrow I'm going to finish. I've just got to get underneath and sand underneath where the tyres are and the chocks I've got under there. And then Monday morning we're going to put the epoxy barrier coat on. May even do one layer of anti-foul on the Tuesday morning. Tuesday night we'll put the second layer of anti-foul on, which is going to be the black. So the first layer is blue, second layer black, and that'll be that job done. And then Wednesday, Samo, my son, is coming down from Sydney, and Zach's flying up from Tasmania on Wednesday for the launch. And then our daughter Ellen is coming up on Friday. So it's going to be a bit of a family affair, and we've got a heap of my other family are coming down, and some friends coming to watch the launch, so, or to be part of it. But next Wednesday, that tent's coming down. So that's going to be a super, super important day. By then, I need to have all of the anti-foul done, and then I can start to scrub the deck and give the bloody thing a good hose off, because it is filthy up there. And then we'll be dealing with probably a hydrochloric or a mild hydrochloric acid solution to get all the decks done, and then we'll start the polishing. So there's shitloads to do. And yeah, God, it's just, it went from being tidy yesterday to being an absolute brothel again. I think about a total of about 18 hours of sanding the holes. Jesus. I should have built a monohole, because that 2 holes is just too much. Look at the state of me. I'm just absolutely covered in white gel coat, and I've got about a quarter of one hole to go, or half of one hole to go. So that's about, what's that, 1/8. God knows. Anyway, look what's going on here. Hello.
Hello.
Wow, you've been busy. We've got all of our roof linings, well, most of them cut. I've still got to cut a couple. Yeah, and Janet started on the foam.
And they're stained.
Oh, that's beautiful. So last week, Dagmar stained all of these roof linings, or clear coated them just to seal them, because they're only pine plywood. And then we've also had Jimmy the week before actually had cut them all. So it's been a team effort, this. And then now Janet's going for the foam, and then there'll be material over the top. So yep.
So I'm going to do one and make sure it works.
Yeah, spray adhesive. Yeah.
I probably should choose one of the real ones, shouldn't I?
Well, do.
It works.
Just do these.
Well,
fantastic. So this is actually a pretty low density foam, isn't it? It's great.
Like 6 mils, I think.
Beautiful. That's going to look unreal. Oh, just put that up. Put the foam on.
So I'll glue that on tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm going to go and take Lexi for a walk.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, she's been on her own all day. Not happy about that.
And
you can glue it on now. No, leave it till tomorrow.
No, tomorrow.
Yeah.
I said I'll glue it on tomorrow.
Yep.
And then, and I'm also going to sand the bases, the bed bases, so I can glue the carpet down, because they're all cut.
Yep, fantastic.
So I'll glue the carpet down.
The finishes are here.
Glue down this. I know we don't have to get all these finished to go in the water. I just we want to make sure they're all cut, and that when we put the foam and the material on, they still fit. I'm waiting for the stainless
staples.
Thank you. It's like the stainless staples. When I get the stainless staples, I'll staple down the material. So I was talking to Pete, he said, glue the foam down,
yep,
but don't glue material.
No,
just
no, I agree.
pull it over
yep,
and staple it.
Yep. And glue it.
Great. No, he didn't say
don't glue it on the back.
No, he didn't say.
Don't like that.
No, don't. Just pull it tight and staple it.
Yeah, everything I've seen says glue it down, but I guess we're going to try one and see how it goes, eh?
I mean, I'm happy to glue.
Yep.
I'm not against it. He said just don't bother gluing it on the front, because then you really have to squeeze out all the air and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Cool. Brilliant. Well done. Go home.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know what time it is. 7 o'clock?
6:15.
Shivers. I've been here since 6:30.
Too long. You need to.
God. There's some realisms that have to be faced when you build a boat. And I'm feeling it today, and I'm not finished. Yesterday morning, I got here at 6 a.m. I sanded till 8:45 p.m. and I think I had half an hour for lunch. seriously, those sorts of hours are ridiculous when you're doing the one thing, and I felt it all night. I had leg cramps, back cramps, shoulder cramps. That was one of the hardest days I've put in for a long, long time. And I'm near 60, guys, so if you're complaining about you're young, stop it. All right, I'm going to call the hull sanding done, except for about 1 centimetre all the way along the keel line. Now, I've got a couple of problems. I've got some blocks here, big truck tyre here, there's a little bit there, probably a couple of centimetres, a couple of inches of sanding, another one here, and a jack stand up here. So the only real way to get to those is to lift the boat. So in comes the truck, the yard trolley that I built 5 years ago. Actually, probably even longer than that, about 5 years ago. I'm just going to take you back to see the thinking behind that yard trolley, because not only did it have to be able to roll, but it also needed to be able to lift up and down, and also to be able to be steered. So I spent a good month, I think, just building that. And you know, although it's only got acro props and jacks and a bit of steering on it, it took some consideration in the ability to be able to lift and safely move the boat, and in fact move the hull in and out. On the 3 times I've had to move it in and out of the tent to firstly demold, move the mold, put it back on, put the hull back on the truck, move it back into the tent again. Then I had to move it back out again to put the deck on the hull as well, and then we had to push it back in again. So this truck has been instrumental. Now, it was an International Echo, about a 10-ton chassis that you know, should be able to more than handle the weight of this, particularly because we're going to be moving at idle speed when we move the boat down this road here, round the corner, round another corner, and down to the boat ramp. It's exactly 1.1 kilometres. It's not even a mile to the boat ramp, but that's going to be $6,500 just to get it towed down there, obviously with insurance and permits and things. So yeah, this is where you start to pay for stuff. You know, the good thing about building it in a boatyard is you're basically there, you just pay the travel, if $500 or whatever it might be to drop it in the water. $6,500, and it's going to be a full night of work, and then again to launch it is going to be another few hours of actually putting it in the water, making sure all the through holes are good, making sure the engines are running, and everything's operating functionally. But for now, I'm going to lift it up. I've already sanded under here. I was able to actually move those blocks there, and so I've got a couple of little areas. I'll just move it along after I've sanded underneath, and that's not going to be fun dealing with that. But first things first, I've got to actually rebuild the truck here. So I've got to put these large foam covered platforms on the bars here and get it lifted only about an inch or a couple of inches, so that I can actually drag these pallets out of the way and get access to underneath it, so I can make sure that I can enact good barrier coat all over the boat and not just where the boat's currently sitting. So we'll get that done. If this truck doesn't lift it, and it should do, it's actually already lifted around 10 tons, which is the mold and the hull combined, which is around about 10 tons. This boat should be no more than 10 tons. I'm hoping it's about 8.5 tons. So I've already proven the lifting, but I'll have to prove it again before I'm totally comfortable with the fact that I'm going to drag it down to the boat ramp on it. Okay, so I'll just lower this down a bit. Well, it definitely lifts. Levitating. Look at that. Here's it coming. It's levitating. It's not even holding up by that end support there, so that's a good sign. So I can now sand all the way along that, and then I'm going to put some blocks under, and I think I'll leave the tyres there for safety's sake, but I don't really think I want them there because they're going to be harder to get out on moving day. And you make sure all these outflows are all engaged so the pressure's not on the jack. It took a lot of work to build this thing, but I think this is going to pay off, this truck. Mind you, would have been probably cheaper and more cost effective as to pay a crane. But that's not how we roll here, Janet. We do shit ourselves. We design, we build, and we make it happen, and then yeah, hopefully nothing cracks. Mind you, it could crack with a crane too, so. It's just the problem is I need 4 people to do what I need to do.
Well, why don't you wait till the boys come?
Because I can't, I've got to get the anti-valve.
Oh, yeah. Mine, I hadn't forgotten about the
And I'm almost finished sanding, and I'm done sanding. I'm never sanding it again until we have to sand the anti-foul off and do the next layer. But that'll be a lot easier, it won't be as intense. It'll just be a quick pressure wash You know, 24 hours straight of sanding like I've just done. That means it's not that much heavier than when we originally demolded it. So, because we had the mould and the hull, and that was around 10 or 11 tonnes. So, hull, deck, and all its individual components, hopefully around 8 to 9 tonnes. That'd be good, wouldn't it? For a 42-foot cat, that's pretty good. It's not light, but it's not heavy either. I mean, compare it to
but it's strong.
a production boat, they'd be around 14, 15 tonnes. So, but we're not going to have the anchor chain in it, or the anchor in it, or the water in it. We're gonna have it
Exactly. Exactly.
Cool. All right. I'm going to get sand.
I've had it. This is hard. I thought yesterday was hard. God.
If the last 3 days has taught me anything, is I never want to build a boat again. Because sanding that bastard has been, oh, I've done some tough jobs on this stinker, but that one was one of the toughest. I reckon collectively about 20 solid hours of sanding with a DA sander to get the hulls perfect and ready. And the one thing that it has also highlighted to me is that there isn't even a void in this hull. I've seen a lot of videos just recently of anti-foul where it's been pulled away and there's voids, air voids under the gel coat. I'm telling you now, there isn't one void in this boat because I have just sanded every millimetre of it twice with 60 grit sandpaper, and it is as near perfect as I could get. The only place where there's a little discrepancy is down here where I'd actually patched the mould to fill in where they had a lifting point for the mould itself. So I'm pretty happy with that now. I've actually got that now flying on the truck, so that has really confirmed to me that the truck is up to the task. So that's good, because if it wasn't, I'd be screwed. You can see here the front's actually been pushed right down, and we're down onto almost onto the keeper spring here, or helper spring, I guess you'd call it a keeper spring. That there, that's got to bottom out before it starts to lift. So you can see the truck's actually on an angle here, but the back wheels are about 8 or 9 inches higher than the front wheels. So what we had to do to get the tyres and the blocks out from underneath, we had to actually seesaw the nose forward. So the boat's currently sitting nose down, and you can see the back end is up. Now, the other thing I just did is I just went and measured the back, the stern here where the rudder bearing is, and I was hoping to be able to get high enough to be able to slide the rudder in, and I think I'm about 10 centimetres short of that limit, so I'm a bit disappointed in that. I was hoping to get the rudders on before I leave, and if I did that, then it would make life a lot simpler when we get down there, but it looks like that's not going to happen. It looks like I'm going to have to put them on as we launch, which is going to create other issues with regard to bleeding the system as well. So I'm going to have to do it maybe with a dummy shaft in it, or even once it's on the water, maybe then calibrate the rudders. But at this stage, I'm knackered. I've been going on that since Friday morning at 4 AM and Sunday arvo at about 5. Preparation is everything here. If you get bad preparation when you're putting undercoat and barrier coat and stuff on, you can be in a world of trouble later on once that starts to wear down with the corrosive elements that are in the water, and obviously animal life, and also for osmosis. Even though the hull here is made of vinyl ester, the entire hull is vinyl ester, I would still argue that you're better off to put in as much preparation now and put that epoxy barrier coats on. So 2 coats go on tomorrow, and on Tuesday both coats of anti-foul will go on, and then I'm basically finished with bottom paint. All the through holes are in. I'm going to start working on the engines and the steering and get the props in, get the PSS Pro Seal in, get the propellers on by the end of the week, and the guys are going to help me take this tent down. So we've got a shitload to do this week. It's just unbelievable how much work has gone into this. And Janet's up the back at the moment, up the back of the factory there. She's sanding down the end caps that we've made for the gunnel rail. She's up there in the corner. You all right, darling? Oh, my beautiful wife, and she's up there filthy, covered in bloody gel coat. And I said, this time next week, we won't be doing this stuff anymore. And that's going to be a revelation for us, because we've had 7 years we've been moving stuff around. And the logistics today, that truck almost broke me today trying to get it to lift. And yeah, I don't know whether a guy my age should be working this hard, to be honest. It's been pretty tough. Well, next job, I'm going to give the whole thing a hose down and let it dry overnight, and then we'll come in tomorrow morning first thing, towel it all dry if it's still wet, and I'm going to give it a good acetone wipe. The whole hull will get a wipe with acetone at least once to remove any surface powder or anything. But for now, what I'll do is I'll give it all a wash out and get all that crap off it, and then we can basically move on to epoxy barrier coats. That's pretty exciting.